My name is Ryan, I'm in recovery. I'm doing my bit for the nation, wearing my England shirt ahead of the semi-final this evening. I'm actually going to be going to the pub to watch it with a few friends. I might have maybe one beer, maybe two. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit because I posted a video a couple of videos back answering a question that someone had asked me in another video, and I just basically saying that I was still drinking alcohol. And it got I guess a mixed response. And I'm always really happy to have these conversations and kind of get people's different opinions. It's worth me stating that what I'm saying in this video and all my videos is my opinion. I'm speaking on my experience, what I'm learning and what I've learned. It isn't, maybe you can relate to some of it, but it's not just like the correct way to do things. It's just what's working for me. By me saying I drink alcohol, if you're in recovery yourself, don't think, oh, that means I can drink alcohol. You've got to just be honest with yourself and work out what works for you. But yeah, I had a few back and forth with a few different people that were kind of coming on the comments and saying you can't drink alcohol. That's not the right way to do it. You're going to relapse. Blah blah blah. And I just think that sort of conversation is a bit problematic. I think it's fine to express an opinion and talk on what works for you, but to say to someone else you're going to fail or you're going to relapse because you're not doing it in this way, I just think can create a bit of shame. And it definitely made me kind of go a bit inward and start to question my own recovery journey. And as I've reflected on it over the last kind of few days, I've been thinking, and it's like, I do find myself sometimes a bit resistant when I'm in an NA meeting or when I'm talking to someone else in recovery. I find that I don't necessarily want to volunteer that I drink alcohol. I kind of almost have to I find myself resisting, and I have to kind of like make myself say it because I'm like, there's no shame around it. But I think, with NA and with AA, a lot of these things, there's elements of it that I find a bit culty, if I'm honest. It's like, anyone that's kind of read the big book that AA comes from is like, it's very God focused. It's very much about submitting to this higher power, handing over your independent thought and just kind of trusting this process. And that works for people, a lot of people. And I really respect that. I really admire it. But I think it doesn't work for everyone. And I think that's fine as well. Like, everyone's different. The big book, the AA, was written, was it like the 1930s, like 90 years ago or something? It's never been updated. So like, times have changed. I think it's important to look at the NA program, the 12 steps, and work out what parts of it work for you. It can't be that if you don't fully engage with every single element of it, then you failed. It's that there's loads of good things in it and loads of things I relate to, but there's also parts of it that I don't agree with, and that's fine. I'm going to take the parts out of it that work for me and use them as tools. Different things work for me. I find that addiction therapy and the CBT and stuff like that is probably the thing that works the best for me. And I know people that I'm friends with in recovery that think the opposite, and that's fine. It's about finding, doing all the different things: journaling, meditation, breath work, other mindfulness techniques, going to the gym, exercise, eating better, just self-care, therapy, NA meetings, support groups online. Just if you're in recovery, you're looking to get into recovery, explore everything and just work out what works for you. It might be that you take a little bit from there and a little bit from there, and you kind of build your own recovery doing it that way. And that's how I approach it. I can't subscribe to the whole like addiction is a disease and you just need to hand over your brain to this other power to help you. Like, yeah, my brain got addicted to something, but in my opinion, I chose to take that drug, and at some point that very addictive drug got a hold of me, and now I'm in the process of loosening that grip it had, and I'm having to use my brain to do that. It's not that I'm just handing over to some higher power. I'm thinking a lot about what my triggers are, what the reason I doing through therapy, working out what were there traumas that led to me becoming an addict. Were there different parts of my life or different parts of how I felt that caused me to use in the way I did, and I'm really learning and gaining a lot from that process. But yeah, with the deciding to carry on drinking, I'm not talking about going out, binging, partying, drinking loads. I'm talking about having a glass of wine when I go to a restaurant. I'm talking about having a couple of beers when England are on. And for me, a lot of when I was in my heaviest addiction, I became really disconnected from all my friends and from the world, really. And a big part of me getting clean from cocaine is to reconnect to the world. It's to get back to enjoying life, to kind of take back control of my life and how I live it. And yeah, that includes having a glass of wine with Amy when we go to a restaurant. That includes maybe having a pint when I'm watching the football. And, you know, ultimately, if that does then lead to a relapse, then that's something I've got to look at. I'm still early in my recovery. Maybe in a little while's time, I'll realise that drinking isn't working and I have to not do that either. But that's for me to work out myself. I find it a bit problematic when people kind of come onto comments or have conversations with me and say, oh, you're not doing recovery right because you're still drinking alcohol. Like, that in itself creates shame. And I just don't agree with that. I think if you've abstained from everything and that's worked for you, then fair play. I really respect it. But equally, I need to find my own path. And work out how that looks. And that's what I'm doing every day right now, and I'm putting the work in, and I'm being honest with myself. And maybe it's my ego, maybe it's stubbornness, but I don't necessarily appreciate, I don't know, being told by some people how to do it. It's like, yeah, I love hearing other people's experiences when they're talking from their own opinion, but when they're kind of forcing their opinion on you, that's where I think it's problematic, and maybe people should try and avoid doing that.